November 10th, a date that has witnessed America lose a warship to a perfect storm, ignore warnings that led to an environmental catastrophe, and make a foreign policy decision that would haunt the world for decades. It's a day when nature, technology, and diplomacy all turned against us. What's the common thread? A failure to respect powerful forces beyond our control. This is the story of America's greatest mistakes on November 10th. Sometimes, the greatest mistakes come from underestimating an opponent, whether that opponent is a storm on the Great Lakes, the unforgiving power of the sea, or the long-term consequences of a geopolitical gamble. On this November 10th, we're examining 3 critical errors where America failed to heed warnings, leading to tragic loss of life and global instability. Let's begin with the shipwreck that shocked the nation. Mistake number 1. The sinking of the USS Edmund Fitzgerald, a preventable tragedy? 1975. It's 1975. The massive freighter Edmund Fitzgerald, the pride of the American merchant marine, is carrying a full load of iron ore across Lake Superior. But she's heading into one of the most infamous storms in Great Lakes history. The context: the Fitzgerald was a workhorse, but there were known issues with its hatch covers and a tendency to take on water. The National Weather Service had issued gale warnings, but the ship pressed on. The November 10th disaster. On November 10th, 1975, the Edmund Fitzgerald, caught in a catastrophic storm with hurricane-force winds and waves over 35 feet high, sank suddenly. All 29 crew members were lost. The mistake: while the storm was the direct cause, the error was a combination of pressure to meet shipping schedules, potentially underestimating the storm's severity, and the unresolved structural vulnerabilities of the ship itself. It was a gamble against nature that was lost. The consequence: the sinking led to major changes in Great Lakes shipping regulations, including mandatory survival suits, improved weather forecasting, and more frequent depth soundings in treacherous areas. It became a permanent part of American folklore, a tragic reminder of the power of nature and the human cost of maritime commerce. The lesson: no schedule or economic pressure is worth risking human life. Respecting the power of nature and ensuring the integrity of your equipment is non-negotiable. Mistake number 2. The MAD miscalculation, escalating the arms race, 1982. From a tragedy on the water to a decision that pushed the world closer to nuclear annihilation on land. The context: the Cold War was at a freezing point. The doctrine of mutually assured destruction, MAD, was the grim status quo, but the US was seeking an edge. The November 10th decision. On November 10th, 1982, the newly elected Soviet leader, Yuri Andropov, rejected President Reagan's zero-option proposal for nuclear arms reduction in Europe. This hardened the US position. The mistake: the critical error was the subsequent, relentless escalation. The Reagan administration moved forward with deploying Pershing II missiles in West Germany, a move seen by the Soviets as profoundly aggressive. This decision was a massive gamble that assumed the USSR would back down, ignoring the very real possibility it would escalate the arms race instead. The consequence: the Soviet Union responded in kind, deploying more of their own missiles and bringing the two superpowers to one of the most dangerous moments of the late Cold War, the Able Archer incident in 1983, where the Soviets genuinely believed a NATO exercise was a prelude to a real attack. This escalation cost billions, heightened global anxiety, and brought the world closer to a nuclear exchange through miscalculation than at any time since the Cuban Missile Crisis. The lesson: in a game of nuclear chicken, there are no winners. Aggressive posturing, even from a position of strength, can trigger a dangerous and unpredictable response from a cornered adversary. Conclusion: so what connects a sunken freighter, a nuclear standoff, and a foreign policy blunder? They all represent a failure of foresight, a failure to respect the immense power of the forces we're dealing with. Whether it's the raw power of a lake storm, the fragile logic of nuclear deterrence, or the complex dynamics of a foreign nation, assuming we are in total control is the first step toward a historic mistake. November 10th teaches us that humility is not a weakness, it's a necessity. The lesson is to prepare for the worst, even when you're hoping for the best, because the cost of being wrong is just too high. Which of these failures of foresight do you think was the most dangerous? Let me know in the comments. If you believe in learning from the past to protect the future, please like and subscribe for more daily history. Thanks for watching.